A lot of frustration comes when we believe that in order for us to make progress, we have to constantly be moving and constantly putting energy into our work. When oftentimes what we really need is just a simpler system. Hey, if you're here and you've been trying to push through, but you're not finding any progress, then this conversation is absolutely for you. I'm Ken, and this is Life Moves with Ken. I make content for men who understand that life moves whether we're ready or not. Today, we're talking about a shift that quietly changes everything. Most men, they're exhausted, not because they're lazy, but because they're fighting their environment, and their environment has put up barriers to stop them from being able to move forward. If we can understand how to reduce those barriers, then we'll find that our success becomes more likely. You know how it is. You wake up with the best intention, and then life hits you. You plan to do this, that, and the other. You tell yourself, I'm going to be disciplined. And then you get the phone call or you get the text message. When everything requires willpower, effort, and motivation, you burn out fast. That's not your determination. That's not your desire. What that is biology. You actually get tired. And most progress, it doesn't really come just from effort alone. It comes from design and structure so that you can make it to your goal. And here's the truth most men never hear. If something is hard to start, you won't be consistent with it. And if something is easy to quit, oftentimes we'll choose the quit over the hard work. So instead of asking yourself, why can't I stay consistent? Ask yourself, why is this so hard to start? Because consistency isn't about being tougher, it's about removing friction that's slowing you down as you get started. The men who make progress, they aren't more motivated. Most times they're just better positioned. What they have is systems in place that allow a structure for their life and allow a structure for their goals so that every day they have a repeatable system that they can utilize to help them remain consistent. They don't rely on hype. They rely on systems that work even on the bad days and even when things get in your way. And so this is a fixable problem. And so I'm glad that you're here. We're going to look at a few things that will help us to remain consistent by creating systems that are repeatable and systems that work. When I say setup, I'm talking about the small, boring decisions that you make that allow you to make the next move the easiest move. Setup is where things live, when things happen, what comes first, and what you have to avoid or fight against. If your workout requires 45 minutes of perfection and 45 minutes of perfect actions, perfect moves, it's not going to happen. And if your morning routine requires perfection, any of y'all who've ever had an alarm not go off, or if you have children, or even if you have to deal with just yourself, you know, like I know, that there is no perfect morning routine that happens exactly the same way you planned it every single day. So if perfection is the requirement, it's not going to happen. However, if the next move is the easy move, then you'll do it without thinking. That's what our system is going to provide for us as we think through the easy steps and the easy setup. So the goal is not to overhaul your entire life. The goal is to make the next step something that you can do without having to pull out a manual every single time you need to make the next step. We're looking to make the next move the simple move, the obvious move, the move that you can make without having to think very hard. So let me give you some examples. So if you want to work out and you've never been a person who's been about fitness, or if you're struggling to keep your fitness routine happening, hey, let's simplify it. Instead of thinking about all of the things that you have to do and all the workout and all of that in a 45-minute workout, how about if you just start with your tennis shoes by the door and you go on a 15 to 20-minute walk every single day, so that when you wake up in the morning or when it's time for you to work out, it's already set up for you. The system is in place. Your shoes are there. You have your workout outfit ready to go. You put the workout outfit on, you put the shoes on, you walk out the door, you go for a 15-minute walk. Over time, because you're making that simple move, that'll become routine where you don't even have to think about it. If your goal is to read more because you want to expand your understanding, or you want to expand just your thinking by reading, let's say, a certain amount of pages every day, hey, let's not try to read 5 chapters every day, okay? Let's be realistic about this thing. How about if you just read 5 pages every day, or 10 pages a day? Or can you just start with 1 page a day? But how do you do it? How do you create a routine where you don't have to think about it? Put the book right by your bed, or put the book on your desk. and make that part of your everyday action so that over time it becomes routine and you don't have to think about it. If you want to work on something meaningful, don't look for the perfect time. Just look for a consistent time and put 15 to 20 to 30 minutes into it. So I'll give you an example in my life. So I'm working on a book that I've been had in my mind for about the last 10 to 15 years. I've jotted it down, I've organized it, I have all of the outline ready to go, and I started working on it last year. And so my goal is to have the entire writing done by the end of March. And so, in order to do that, I know that I have to spend about 3 hours a couple of days a week doing that. My consistent routine is on Tuesdays. That's one of my writing days. And so, after I get my day started, I spend that time on Tuesday writing. Once the time is over, I'm done. Then I turn around on Wednesday and I do a little bit more writing. And then on Thursday, I put about another hour to an hour and a half in. I've spent about 5 to 6 hours of writing, but I don't look for time. I just know when Tuesday comes, it's time to get writing. And it's part of my routine. Right after breakfast, I sit down, sit at my desk, and just start writing. So I don't have to think about what to do on Tuesday. I know that it's get up, it's have prayer, it's have breakfast, spend time with my wife, and then go sit at my desk and start writing. So before you start thinking, wait a minute, that seems too simple. So I know you're like, wait a minute, that seems too simple. But I want you to understand this is not about lowering our standard, it's about raising our follow through. And by simplifying and chunking things down into smaller pieces, we're able to get big results from small actions that have no sense of negotiation with them. So, for instance, 15 minutes of walking, there's no negotiation with that. If I put my shoes by the bed, get up and just go. Reading 5 pages a day, I don't have to think about that and put a whole lot of system in place. I just have to do it over and over. It's the issue of a small move consistently done creates a routine. For me, it's a consistent Tuesday routine that I've put in place so that I know what I need to do, don't have to think about it. It is part of my day, and I block that time so there is no negotiation on whether or not I'm doing that work at that time. Again, if you want to be completely honest with you, there will be no fanfare when you do this. What you're going to find is that even your motivation might go right out the window, or you may lose motivation as you're doing this. But because you put a system in place, you'll find that you'll do it over and over again because it's just something that you automatically do. The setup and the system is designed to create non-negotiables for you. So that's why it's chunked into small buckets. And so, for instance, for me, I know that if I think that I need to work out for 2 hours, I'll never get that done because my day doesn't allow for it. And so I'm setting up failure if I think it has to be 2 hours. But if I know that on a good day, I can go outside and walk for 2 miles. I know exactly where the 1 mile mark is. I walk there, I turn around, I'm done. And I've done my 2 miles for that time. If I need 2 more miles by the end of the day, I know exactly where to walk out of my apartment, walk down the street, turn around, come right back, and I've done 4 miles. So I don't even have to think about it because I know the system and I know the routine that gets me to the exact mark that I'm trying to get to. And it doesn't require a whole lot of effort, energy, thought process. It becomes automatic. So if you're struggling, it doesn't mean that you lack discipline. Perhaps it means that you're thinking too much about it and you have to attend too much to it. So you need to set up a system that becomes automatic. Consistency, it's not heroic. It's really just mechanical. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to make the next move easier than not making a move at all. So what we're really talking about is designing our life so that there's some automatic pilot in it. And that's where real change happens when we know exactly what we're doing at exactly a certain time and it becomes routine. And in fact, that's really what routine is when things are automatically happening in your life. Yes, that does leave room for the crazy and the unexpected thing to happen in our lives, such as when I was heading out the other day, I was right on time, but then there was a fire alarm in the building, and that meant that the elevators were shut down. Well, guess what? I live on the 29th floor. So if elevators are shut down, guess how long I'm waiting to get an elevator? You got it. And so I had to adjust on the fly because I was already within my routine. Now I wasn't even thinking about it. And yes, these things happen. But the moment you get off routine, you're able to get right back on because it's an automatic part of your life. It's all about the setup and the system, not about you and the discipline or anything. It's really just about, can I automatically create things that will allow me to get to where I'm trying to get to in terms of my goals and my planning for the day, for the week, for the month, and even for the year. So let's kind of recap what we've talked about so that we can make sure that we understand how to put this next move in place. The next move is creating a system. What is the simplest step that we can make and repeat it over and over and remove the barriers to making that next step? If your goal is eating healthy, get all of the other stuff out of your house and then meal prep so that you have something to go to when you're hungry or when it's time for you to cook food. All of these things are simple steps that become automatic once we put them in play, but they're small steps. It doesn't require this big, crazy plan that oftentimes gets us off task. Remove the friction, lower the barrier, and make the next steps obvious, and then take the next step. So that's our move for the week. We're setting up a system. You'll notice that we are now moving down the line of getting to our goal. We came up with our move. Then we decided to just start. Then we talked about consistency. Now we're talking about removing barriers that impede our consistency. And if any of this helped you, I first want to thank you for being here. Next, I'm going to ask you just go ahead, hit like and subscribe. And in fact, here's your big question for the day. What is your simple setup that you're making so that you can create a routine that you can actually do? That small little thing that you can repeat over and over. Hey guys, again, this has been Ken, and I love you guys. So glad that you're here. I want to remind you that you're not starting over. You're just starting from here. And if you're here making life moves, then you're doing the right thing. I've been Ken. Hope to see you next time. This is Life Moves with Ken.